Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill on a Monday from Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Hope your Monday is off to a great start. We are locked and loaded for the next 2 hours. Of course, Tigers took care of business over the weekend against UAB. LSU basketball did the same earlier this morning down from the Cayman Islands. We'll talk about that a little bit. Big weekend in the world of college football. Want to get to all that in the SEC and really what happened around the country. Also, going to get to a little bit of Saints as well in the second hour. So, locked and loaded here on Hunt and Hill. Appreciate you hanging out with us. This is a fun week. A lot of people get a short work week here. That's a good thing. There are a lot of sports going on. I love when college basketball is on, like in the morning hours. That's awesome. Now, LSU's a little tough to watch on Flow Hoops or whatever it is. You got to dish out $30 to watch the game. I didn't quite do that. I listened to Chris Blair and John Brady on the call and talk about it a little bit later. And also the World Cup, if that's your kind of thing, have at it. Not necessarily what's going to get me going in the morning, but some of the people on the sales staff I was talking to this morning really fired up for USA and Wales, which basically has the population of Iowa. We can't beat them. Come on. That's just kind of the way I always go on these things. Shows how I know nothing about soccer. We're not going to talk a lot of soccer. In fact, we're not going to talk really any soccer. We're going to talk some football. LSU inside Tiger Stadium on senior night, 41-10 was the final. I'll start with this. I think a lot of you listening were there. I think a lot of you listening watched on TV. I think a lot of you listening had tickets, looked at the forecast, and said, I don't think so. My first game was in 1994. I remember it. LSU played Ole Miss. Jamie Howard was the quarterback. LSU blocked a field goal late in the game and won. I was 6. I've been coming to games every year since 1994. I can't recall a worse weather game. It may have been colder for Troy in 08. It may have been colder for Notre Dame in 97. It may have rained a lot harder for South Carolina in 2007. The rain before Oregon State in 04 that delayed the game was torrential. But that was disgusting. It was cold, it was wet, and it never stopped raining. It rained, and it rained, and it rained, and it was never like a torrential. It just was a steady, heavy mist. It was gross. So for those of you that went to the game and stuck it out through the end, big-time hat tip to you, or maybe go get a CAT scan. That was absolutely dreadful weather. And, you look at the game and you go, all right, LSU played 6 straight conference games. You've already won the West. Stepping out of conference, play a 5-5 UAB team. 8 o'clock kickoff, empty stadium, horrendous weather. Like, okay, didn't look great last week against Arkansas. Like, are you going to be able to get up and go? They got up and went. Offense was clicking on all cylinders from the start. I realized the special teams allowed a pretty quick touchdown for UAB in the first quarter. But after that, absolutely locked in. And LSU delivered a strong performance, a dominant performance on a weekend where a lot of teams didn't. And I realized that, you can't compare Illinois, who played Michigan, to UAB. You can't compare South Carolina to UAB. You probably shouldn't compare Vanderbilt to UAB. But a lot of teams that were heavy favorites looked like garbage on Saturday, A&M included in awful weather conditions. They may just be awful. In fact, they are awful. But LSU didn't succumb to that, what was the trend on Saturday, which was kind of playing down to competition. The Tigers dominated from start to finish. I talked the back end of last week about how I just thought it was a really bad matchup for UAB. I thought if your identity in this sport this season is to line up, get behind your pads, and run the football, LSU is going to be game for that. Rattled off all those statistics from those running backs that LSU had seen. And week after week after week, LSU has done a really good job at slowing down running backs. Tank Bigsby, 45 yards. Montrell Johnson from Florida, 57 yards. Trevor Etienne from Florida, 28 yards. Rocket Sanders 2 weeks ago, 46 yards. LSU's done a really good job outside of Jabari Small, kind of went nuts on him. but that's a Tennessee offense that operates a little differently than most. And UAB tried to turn around and hand the ball off, but LSU just was not going to allow that to happen, and UAB couldn't run the ball. They ran it 22 times for 48 yards. Dwayne McBride, who was a story all week, ran the ball 13 times for 34 yards. That was really the story of the game, because if UAB couldn't run the ball, it was going to be a disaster for them, and it was. But more importantly, we're talking about LSU here. That was my entire message on Friday's show. Like, I don't care that UAB runs the ball really well. I don't care that the game's at 8 o'clock or the weather's not going to be great. All I care about is going out there and just doing what you're supposed to do. And LSU did that. The offense got clicking from the start, and that really made me feel better. I think if you've listened to this show, you understand that this team, although they're 9-2, although they're West champs, although they're going to be 5th in the playoff rankings, although they quite literally might win the national championship this year. Would I bet on it? No. But there are only 6 or 7 teams that have a stake to that. LSU's one of them. And they just still don't inspire a ton of confidence in me. Confidence, maybe, but like an arrogance that comes with that dominant team. I would tell any Clemson fan in earshot they weren't going to win that game when LSU went to the Superdome in January of 2020. Because I knew. Even though the 07 team lost 2 games, I still thought they were bulletproof. Same thing with 03. We were going to win. I don't care if Jason White won the Heisman. Care about we're going to win. This group hasn't gotten there with me personally. I don't know if it's the slow start against Mississippi State, slow start against Florida State, kind of letting Florida back in it late, the struggles at Arkansas. Like, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's the totality of it. So I didn't implicitly trust them to go to Fayetteville and win the game. They did it. And I was concerned with that output. I went, man, this offense that's operated one way kind of all year, now I'll turn around and Barry Odom's dropping 8. He's got 2 spies on Daniel. And LSU can't move the ball. DJ Durkin at Texas A&M is going to be able to look at that and replicate it. Kirby Smart and his staff over at Georgia are going to be able to look at that and replicate it. That's scary. Like, is this team, do they have can they shake that? And they did on Saturday. Now, I'll probably get all worked up again later this week because y'all know how I feel about A&M. We got to go in there and win. But it was nice that they, boom, hit it from the start on Saturday. Jaden Daniels was exceptional in the game. 22 of 29 passing for 297 yards. Kind of set the tone with the deep ball to Malik Neighbors. Neighbors was sensational. 7 catches for 129. He hit him on the intermediate stuff. He hit him on the deep ball there. He's just a great, great player. And with Kayshawn out with the flu, he was going to have to get out there and make some plays, and he did it. But the story for LSU is Daniels. He was able to get the ball out of his hands quickly. He was so hesitant, so gun-shy, so tentative up there in Fayetteville. Get the snap, plant his back foot, wait, pat the ball, try to run, spy, tackled. Get the snap, hitch, look, scramble out, throw it away. It was not, there was not any sort of rhythm to it, and that's something that needed to come back into UAB to inspire a little bit of confidence, and it was there. And then, of course, when he needed to take off and run, he did so. 12 carries for 111 yards and a touchdown. I mentioned this on the post game. Maybe it was on Friday's show here. I can't keep track. I've got a microphone in my face for a lot of hours a week. But I'm generally in the press box. I was not in the press box for Florida State. They didn't have room for me, so LSU graciously gave me a ticket to go to the game. So we did the pregame show from Manning's. I watched the game, 3/4 of it from my seat, and then went up into the press box for the 4th quarter to do the postgame show. But I was closer to the field than I usually am because I'm usually up in the press box somewhere, but this time I had a seat down low. And Jaden Daniels took off, and I went, oh, my God, he's like a wide receiver fast. He's not like a mobile quarterback. Like, he's one of the fastest guys, if not the fastest guy on the field. And on Saturday, I realize it's UAB. You're playing a Conference USA opponent, but he was running by guys like they were standing still. He had a different gear than everybody on the Blazer defense. And so once again, he was able to get loose. He's going to see a spy on Saturday, a lot of the game. and it'll be more athletic than anybody that UAB's got. And he'll see a spy in Atlanta, and he'll be real athletic, whoever that is. But it was nice that Jaden Daniels in the game was able to get the ball out on rhythm, complete a high percentage of throws, even in the rain and the cold, and his receivers were able to go out there and make some plays. LSU's offense was excellent from start to finish. That just makes me feel a little bit better. If LSU goes out there and plays a game that looks a little bit like what Texas A&M did against UMass, in the rain, fumbling the football, not able to complete passes, stagnating, punting a lot, scoring 20 points in the game, I'd have been a nervous dude because I would have thought Barry Odom would have maybe cracked the code. I don't know what UAB's game plan was, but none of it worked. So that makes me feel a little bit better going into College Station. Brian Thomas got back out there and made 4 catches. That was very good. Jack Besh got involved with 3 catches. That was good. Mason Taylor, I think, should have had a touchdown on that play when he extended to the pylon. They reviewed it, said no, but he had 3 more catches. Jure, in his last game in Tiger Stadium, made a couple of catches. So they were able to get a lot of guys involved, and it does very much sound like Kayshon Boutte is going to be okay for Saturday. He dressed out pregame and just wasn't able to go because of the flu. There's no reason to put him out there. You know, what's the last thing on earth you want to do when you're coming back from the flu? Go stand in the cold rain for 4 hours? I don't think that's a great idea. So I was texting Gordy Rush during the game. He checked in on him after the game. Brian Kelly talked about it after the game. Kayshon's going to be okay. He just wasn't able to practice last week with the flu, and there's just no reason to put him out there. So Tigers get the win 41-10. I was very satisfied with the offensive output. There's not a ton to take from these games. These non-conference games are pretty boring. They're not very exciting, but if you're going to take something from it, LSU found a little bit of rhythm on the offensive side. That's something they desperately had to do after a very clunky performance against Arkansas. Maybe you can call it a letdown spot coming off the Alabama win. Maybe you can, whatever you want to say. They weren't very good in Arkansas. They were a lot better on Saturday. We still got a lot to talk about. Brian Kelly met with the media, talked about a couple of guys who were going to get some red shirts, had some injury updates as well. So we will get to some of the defensive things that I liked, as well as what Brian Kelly had to say coming up in the next segment before we get to our SEC picks. I want to remind you, opening hour each and every Monday brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. Looking to watch some soccer? I think The Shed's going to be a pretty good spot to do so. Of course, they got that delicious food, and they got a ton of TVs, ton of great drink options, and a ton of seating area over there at The Shed. So if you're looking to watch some soccer, head on over to The Shed on Burbank. The same delicious barbecue you've known in Ocean Springs for decades is right here in Baton Rouge. They got your ribs, they got your brisket, they got your pulled pork, mac and cheese, potato salad, plus really cold drinks and great seating area. So go on by The Shed for dinner, or check them out, watch some soccer. Should be a very, very fun atmosphere over there at The Shed on Burbank. We'll come back with more. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Football fans, make this a Thanksgiving to remember with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because when you bet an NFL same-game parlay from now through November the 28th, all customers get $100 in free bets, win or lose. Just bet an NFL same-game parlay or a same-game parlay plus of at least $20. The bigger you bet, the more you'll get back in free bets. The NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a larger payday. Build your own or choose from one of your popular same-game parlays that are pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, get $100 in free bets, win or lose, when you bet an NFL same-game parlay of 4 legs or more. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code 1045ESPN and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Bonus issued is a non-withdrawable free bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Max free bet of $100. Restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap LSU, UAB, Saints, Rams. Cole Kubelik will join us. We'll see you for Monday's AFR from 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
They're in the 17th minute between USA and Wales. Nothing, as you might imagine. I had to share a laugh with Cordy Rush a little bit earlier. We did the Brian Kelly press conference over there for the LSU Sports Radio Network on campus earlier, and he reminded me that 8 years ago, Gordy bumped AFR for a World Cup game. Moscona, who hates soccer, was told he couldn't go into work because they're playing a soccer game in his slot, which I remember Matt making a big deal out of. I think he went to Top Golf and drank beer. It was quite a scene. I don't think he's being bumped today. We'll be talking some football, but I'll keep you updated on the score for those who are interested. I've got an inkling that it probably won't be a very high-scoring game. It'll probably be 0-0 or 1-0 because that's what soccer usually does. All right, let's talk a little bit more about LSU and UAB on Saturday night. We're going to get to defense in a second, but offensively, John Emery just simply can't hold on to the football. And this is an issue when it's raining. This is an issue when it's not raining. This was an issue for him in high school. It's an issue now. And the solution, more often than not at LSU, especially in the Les Miles days, was you just grab a seat on the bench and you don't get up. But LSU doesn't really have that luxury right now. Armani Goodwin's out for the year. Josh Williams is dealing with an injury. Brian Kelly updated him today and said it's kind of a day-to-day deal, but he's got a knee sprain, so he can't really go. Noah Cain gave you what he can give you, and he's done a pretty nice job. But all of a sudden, you look in the fourth quarter, and they got a safety plan running back. And that's Derek Davis. And Brian Kelly was asked about Derek Davis today at running back, said we should have moved him there earlier. And I think he was being serious. I can't, I'm not 100% sure. I was just listening like everybody else. But it sounded like Derek Davis may be a running back moving forward. Either way, he ain't a running back this week because he's played 4 games and he's redshirting. So you can say you're going to bench John Emery because he's fumbling the ball too much, but you don't have enough running backs to do that. If Williams can't play, then you've got Noah Cain, Emery, and that's it. So the conversation's not grab some bench. The conversation is, hey, hang on to the football. And you would have to think that because this has happened for John, he was rolled down against Arkansas, but the ball came free, and then he had twice in the game against UAB. It's got to be top of mind. And personally, I'm glad they're not just sitting him on the bench because he's a talented dude. Throw the swing pass out there against Alabama. He makes a play. LSU's fighting for their lives on the road. Bust that run against Auburn. We know what he did against Alabama 2 years ago in Tiger Stadium. Ripped one down the left sideline. There's just not a ton of that on this LSU roster. One, your numbers aren't great. And two, you don't have that go-to back that you usually have. So I understand those that are frustrated by the ball coming out and the fumbles. I am too. But you can't just sit him because you don't have enough guys. So he's going to play. That'll be a story moving forward, and now everybody's aware of it. Stop fumbling the football. I do want to talk about the defense on Saturday. Really cool moment, in my opinion, for Ali Gay to come off the edge and get that sack. His parents had never seen him play inside Tiger Stadium live. They got to come down. Very sorry to the Gay family that's the weather in the crowd you got for your one game to see Ali play inside Tiger Stadium. But for him to get that sack, that'll be one that he remembers. This is a game that'll be long forgotten by a lot of people. Probably already is. You may have already moved on from this one. Don't even remember what happened. It was a nondescript game for the most part. LSU won it 41-10. Nothing to talk about. But Ali Gay is going to remember that forever, and so will his parents, which I thought was really, really cool. We hope that Greg Penn would continue to build on some solid early season performances. Some solid late season performances. He was pretty good in Fayetteville. He led the team in tackles Saturday night. 8 tackles, 5 of those were solo. He had one in the backfield. For LSU to be as multiple as they want to be with Harold Perkins, you've got to have some guys to man the interior backer spots, and Greg Penn's done a pretty good job. Micah Baskerville has been great for a couple of years there, and you figure he's going to be what he can be. But you need Penn to come along, not only for this year's team, which still has a ton to play for, but as you move forward. He's going to very likely be in the mix at linebacker next year. Need him to come forward. The defense as a whole has been really, really good. And one of the things that came out in the press conference today was that Matt House has been named a semifinalist for the Broyles Award. And man, does he deserve it. Pitching second half shutouts at Auburn against Mississippi State. Playing the way they did in the first half against Alabama, holding them without a touchdown. Pitched another second half shutout against UAB. Pitched a second half shutout against Arkansas. There have been some slow starts for this LSU team. Some of that I'd put on defense. Some of it I certainly would not. Florida hits you with a big play early. That's on the defense. Auburn hits you with a big play early. That's on the defense. But I'm not going to pin everything that happened in the Tennessee game on the defense. You didn't help your team out in the Ole Miss game either. But they've been incredibly well coached on the defensive side of the ball really all year long. And if you're listening to Hanny's show about 40 minutes ago, he was talking to Matt House and talking about Matt House, and Brian Kelly was asked about, hey, what if he got a head coach opportunity? And Brian Kelly said, that is this profession. If there was an opportunity for him to be a head coach, I would do everything I could to help him in that endeavor. And that's why Matt House came here. He came here to become a head coach. It's far easier to become a head coach as the defensive coordinator at LSU than it is the linebacker coach of the Chiefs. It's the same reason Wes Johnson came to LSU from the Twins to be the pitching coach. Because he wants to be a college head coach, And it's easier to become a college head coach if you're an assistant at LSU as opposed to an assistant in the pros. But Matt House, as much as I am apprehensive and a little bit nervous as I entered the show about this team, they don't have me brimming with confidence all the time as a team. I do feel pretty good knowing Matt House is calling the defense because I think he's going to make adjustments. I think he's going to have LSU prepared, and then when something happens, he's going to go in there and fix it. It's the same way I felt about Dave Aranda. Used to look down on that LSU sideline and see Dave's head shining in the light and think, all right, Dave's down there. We're going to be okay. He's going to get it figured out. I feel that way about Matt House right now. Maybe somebody comes out with a great script and hits you with something early, then you'll turn around and you'll fix it. And he's done that really all year long. I was talking to Brandon Taylor on the postgame show on Saturday about John Chavis. And look, John Chavis went to A&M and it wasn't very good. He went to Arkansas and it was an absolute disaster. Once this game got really spread out and really fast, it kind of went past him. But when he was here in 2011 and a lot of guys were still lining up with a tight end and an I formation running the football, John Chavis was a really good defensive coordinator. He was a phenomenal defensive coordinator at Tennessee. And I was talking to Brandon. I was like, "Hey, what's that like at halftime? Was Chief really good with adjustments?" He said, "Oh, he's incredible." He would come up to all the players. He'd say, "All right, what do you see?" They're great listeners. You listen to what guys are seeing, what's happening, and then you go in there and you fix it. And LSU, way more often than not this year, has gone in there and gotten it fixed. The only team that kind of got cooking in the second half was Florida. But you got a huge play in that game to change the tide late. So that was another thing that I took from the press conference today was that Matt House, look, he deserves any accolades that come his way. I don't know if he'll win the Burroughs Award, but he deserves the consideration and certainly the recognition that comes with being a semifinalist. And I think that one day he will certainly be moving on, and it'll probably be sooner rather than later. One more note from the press conference before we shift gears and go to the SEC. We'll get to my picks here in a second, which were, well, we'll just tell you. We'll tell you in the next segment how my picks went. If you follow me on Twitter and you saw me tweeting after the game on Saturday, you got a pretty good idea. But I want to say that he was also asked about Quincy Wiggins, why he was not dressed. Obviously, in the era of the transfer portal and all that, like everybody just goes nuts when guys are MIA and whatnot. Quincy Wiggins has played his 4 games. He's going to redshirt his first year here at LSU. And the term that Brian Kelly uses, the light has finally come on over the last month or so with Quincy. He's on the scout team. He's making some huge strides. And you realize that B.J. Ojulari is moving on. You realize that Ali Gay is moving on. You're going to have to rebuild some of your edge. And Quincy Wiggins is certainly in those plans. He was one of the highest rated recruits in last class. You haven't seen a lot of him. And while guys in his class like Will Campbell and Emory Jones and Harold Perkins are shining stars, he hasn't necessarily been a factor. But he's redshirting, and so they're going to sit him, and sounds like he's really coming on, which is a very, very good sign. LSU is going to need Quincy Wiggins in this program, especially next year as they look to rebuild a defense that's going to lose a lot of pieces. Tigers win it by the final score of 41-17. An impressive effort against UAB. Now you turn your sights to College Station, try to win your 10th game, and then get ready for Atlanta. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are in the spirit to rock your holidays with $15,000 in cash. It's our 15K holidays. Head over to 1045ESPN.com and register to win a $15,000 national gas prize or a $1,500 prize locally. The 15K holidays powered by Citizens Bank and Trust at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. When we come back, take a look around the Southeastern Conference next on Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
And if you want a brush that cleans 100% better than a regular brush for cleaner teeth and healthier gums,
what you waiting for?
Oral-B is the brand dentists worldwide use the most. So maybe it's time you...
Come and get it.
You get it. Oral-B. Brush like a pro.
Bayou Ford makes the car buying experience super easy. Shop BayouFord.com.
Relief Windows. Experience, quality, and service. ReliefWindows.com.
Monday evening edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're live at Rouge Creole in Perkins Row, recapping all of the college and NFL action from the weekend on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Really good news to look up on the ESPN crawl and see that Virginia running back Mike Hollins has been discharged from the hospital. Obviously a former star over at U-High and was involved in that tragic shooting up there in Charlottesville. Had a couple of surgeries. His mom's been keeping up to date on Twitter, and he was let go from the hospital today. So that is very, very good news for the Baton Rouge native. The way that radio works more often than not is that those of you that listen to the show, you listen more often than you don't. Like it's just part of your routine. When you're in the car, you're going to listen. There are far more people that listen to most shows than people that may tune in one day a week or so. So I feel like most of you that are listening to the show have an idea of what we do weekly. And if you listen to our final picks on Friday, you get the kind of tongue-in-cheek nature with which we've started to make these picks. We started picking against LSU, and they started rattling off wins, and we just kind of stuck with it. That's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. We're really trying on these SEC picks. I'm trying to pick winners. Got off to a hot start. I had a really good year last year picking winners. We kept track all year long. What has gone on here in the last month has been a disaster. Let's go back to my Friday SEC picks for this week. UMass at Texas A&M. Aggies laying 33.5. I laid the 33.5 points with Texas A&M. Vanderbilt hosting Florida. Vandy catching 14 points. Florida will cover that. Lost the game. Georgia at Kentucky. 22.5. I thought, the dogs will lay it on them. Kentucky stinks. Nope. Awful. I said, well, on the plains at Auburn, Cadillac Williams, he got him up to play for that one game against Texas A&M. They can't do that again. Western Kentucky's pretty good. It's a low number, but I'll take Western Kentucky and I'll take the 5.5. Nope. Tennessee, South Carolina, 22. I said, they cover 40. It's a beauty pageant. They're gonna try to score 60 again, and South Carolina can't score. It'll be a bloodbath. I'll take Tennessee, lay the 22. Ole Miss and Arkansas. So, I don't know if KJ is going to play or not. I'm not really sure, but Ole Miss is pretty good. Yeah, hangover from Bama, but they'll go up there. I'll lay 2.5 points with Ole Miss on the road. I got the Missouri game right. Nailed it. Missouri covered by 2 points. It was 29. They won by 31. But that was a 1-6 week for your boy. Jeremy was a little bit better. 3-4. Still not great, so he's one game under 500. But I was 1-6. I'm shot. Got one week left. I can't even get over 500. Just a putrid showing. So let's actually talk about what happened in the games. Certainly the most impactful game was Tennessee. Look, I guess the 2001 SEC championship game when Matt Malk ran all over him and cost him a chance to go to the Rose Bowl and play for a national championship, that's the worst loss in the history of Tennessee's football program. This has got to be close. It's certainly top 5. I don't know enough about the Tennessee history, but to have a national championship possibility within your reach 15 years after the last time you won the division, and to get absolutely whitewashed by a bad South Carolina team is brutal. And then you add the literal injury to insult when Hendon Hooker blows his knee out. But that defensive effort from Tennessee has got to go down in the history books. Listen to these drive charts. South Carolina, these are their drives. 9 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. 5 plays, 65 yards, touchdown. 7 plays, 64 yards, touchdown. 7 plays, 74 yards, touchdown. 9 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. Then they had a 1-play, 12-yard drive to end the half. So they scored a touchdown on every drive in the first half. They punted on their first drive of the third quarter, and then here's the rest. 9 plays, 65 yards, touchdown. 11 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. 4 plays, 17 yards, touchdown. 9 plays, 82 yards, touchdown. Then they took a knee. Tennessee forced 1 punt against Spencer Rattler. That team looked awful against Florida the week before. You thought the Vols' pass defense was real suspect early on. They had gotten a little bit better. My goodness, did it rear its ugly head on Saturday. And quite frankly, that's a massive result for LSU because for me, personally, I thought LSU was going to have a hard time getting in over Tennessee. I know y'all are all really upset with Reese Davis when he goes on the show on Tuesday nights and says he thinks Tennessee's blocking LSU. You think that's crazy? You think there's no way they could leave out the SEC champion? I don't know. I didn't feel great about it. But now you don't have to worry because Tennessee is out of the way. Now they got to worry about Vanderbilt, who's won 2 games in a row all of a sudden. What in the heck happened with Coach Napier? You cannot go to Nashville and lose to that team. Now, I get it. Nick Saban lost to UAB in year 1 at LSU. Nick Saban lost to ULM in year 1 at Alabama. Kirby Smart lost to Vanderbilt in year 1 at Georgia. It doesn't mean the whole thing's going to go to hell. But that is a bad look. Clark Lee deserves a ton of credit. We bashed him weekly here on Wednesdays. Always 14th. That's 2 strong weeks for them. But Florida should not be going on the road and losing to Nashville. Did y'all catch Vanderbilt students, quote unquote, storming the field. If you haven't seen it, you need to go on Twitter and look for it. It is the most Vanderbilt thing I've ever seen. Vanderbilt stands are a little bit elevated, and there are stairs that go down. They're storming the field, which usually involves a bunch of drunk people jumping over fences, was a student body that looked like it was on a 5th grade fire drill. They were orderly walking down the stairs onto the field. And when they got down there, there was no, like, picking up fake grass or throwing anything or drinks being tossed. It was just a bunch of people kind of standing around, like, clapping.
Well, I mean, they had time. There was only like 10 of them there.
It was pathetic. Speaking of pathetic, Texas A&M played on Saturday. How about that segue? What a radio pro. God, did y'all watch that? Oh, my goodness. The weather was awful. It was cold. It was raining. UMass might be one of the worst teams in the country. They were 1-8 coming in, or 1-9 coming in. Their only win was Stony Brook. And A&M couldn't move the ball. It was like 13-3 in the fourth quarter. A&M flat couldn't move the football. Couldn't block them. Couldn't make plays. Fumbled 4 times. Because UMass is so awful, they've played 4 quarterbacks this year. None of them are any good. They couldn't score. So A&M won the game easily. But it was ugly. Really ugly. And then Georgia. This will be our whole show next week. But it's just been a little uneven. We know what they can do when they lock in and execute. Oregon found out. Tennessee found out. That Tennessee score is deceiving. The rain started, and Georgia kind of calmed things down in the fourth quarter. But then they have games where they just don't look very good. 1 touchdown against Kentucky? By the way, what is Will Levis good at? I'm watching this game. They get down to the red zone. He throws a terrible interception. Why? Just Josh Allen. He's not Josh Allen. He's a mediocre SEC quarterback. But he couldn't get him moving. Georgia's defense is still really good. It just feels like when teams line up against Georgia and they go to run the football, their defensive line just gets into a street fight and just starts beating people up. And their defense played really well, but the offense didn't. Same thing against Missouri. The offense just couldn't really get moving, and the defense wasn't even great in that game. So it doesn't really feel like the Georgia team of last year, but they still feel like the best team in the country. I just hope that LSU doesn't get that locked and loaded team that Oregon got and Tennessee got. We'll see. But not all that impressive, and of course I took the dogs and laid the 22. That didn't go so hot. Ole Miss and Arkansas, where did that come from? I mean, you can see you can explain it after it happens. You can say, well, Ole Miss had its heart broken last week. Their chance to win the West was gone. They just let Alabama off the hook. And you're going on the road. It's cold. And your coach is being rumors swirling all over the place that he's going to leave. And so it makes sense when you start to explain it. But, I mean, to let the Arkansas offense just go up and down the field with a banged-up KJ Jefferson was kind of borderline shocking to me. And this game was not competitive at all. So now Ole Miss has a real situation on its hands. And that's what I want to talk about when we come back to finish off hour number 1, because there are a lot of dominoes at work here. And we know how crazy coaching searches can be, but this one is going to be interesting. And Ole Miss has done a lot of stuff over the last 7 days. I've done some listening to Neil McCready and Chase Parham over on Rebel Grove, and I've kind of got a reasonable feel for the way things are going over there. I want to talk about that to close out hour number 1 next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
One Bath and Closets. Love to remind you about One Bath and Closets. The website is onebathandclosets.com. David Duvall and his crew been in the business for 3 decades, redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Go to the website. Why choose us? It's right there on the website. They got some testimonials that tell you how great a job David Duvall and his crew will do. They can do a really small job. They can do a really sizable job. They are a licensed contractor and a one-stop shop. You don't have to call a floor guy, call a glass guy, call a roof guy, call a plumber. David Duvall and his crew are going to handle everything in that bathroom or that closet, and they're not going to come back 3 weeks later because something's wrong and they got to fix it. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com, and check out their tub-to-shower conversions. Everybody's kind of got that same generic tub in their house. Take that thing out of there if you don't ever use it, take a bath, and put in a gorgeous walk-in shower. Totally changes your bathroom. Totally changes the feel of your home. You don't have to move to get that feeling. It's not a great time to move right now. Great time to call One Bath and Closets and get a renovation or a remodel. Closets. Mine's a disaster, quite frankly. Let David Duvall and his crew come in and they'll give you a questionnaire. You look at that questionnaire. You say, oh, this is what I have. This is kind of what I want. This is what I need. And David Duvall and his crew will customize a solution for you. The website's onebathandclosets.com. David Duvall and his crew will give you 30% off if you tell them that Hunt and Hill sent you. 30% off if you say Hunt and Hill sent you to onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana Barbecue Sauce, Louisiana Molasses Mustard, Spicy and Sweet Barbecue Rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code
on Tuesday's OTB. Texas 4-8 week officially begins. Can the Tigers finish the fight? Plus, Nick Underhill stops by to break down what's going on with the Saints. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Stars and Stripes put one in the back of the net. USA scores a goal on Wales. They're inching towards halftime, about a minute away from halftime over in Qatar. I don't know what it is. They shouldn't be playing the World Cup there anyway. But USA 1, Wales 0. I want to close up this hour talking about the Lane Kiffin drama, which is really heating up over in Oxford. We know how coaching searches go. We went through this whole thing last year where reports are just what they are. You don't really know. There's always a motive. There's always an angle. Who's fishing for a raise? Who's trying to get leverage? Who's actually interested? Who's getting interviews? Who's calling the shots? How far along are they? All this stuff. But Ole Miss is taking this Auburn thing very seriously. Everybody who knows somebody in Auburn is saying that John Cohen's number one target is Lane Kiffin. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But Ole Miss is taking it seriously. They have put a contract extension on Lane Kiffin's desk that is in the $9.5 million range per year, reportedly. That would make him about fifth nationally. We know that Lane Kiffin is concerned about Ole Miss's ability to keep up in terms of the NIL stuff. Well, the Grove Collective, their NIL football-only collective, has gone reportedly north of $7 million, which is what Kiffin said they needed. So they've raised a massive amount of money in the last week, and they've put a contract extension on his desk. Now, if he's very happy at Ole Miss, and they're giving him what he wants, I don't see why he wouldn't sign that right now. But if you're looking at the Plains, you got to wait till the Egg Bowl ends. And right now, that's the game. And to me, I'm just trying to connect the easiest dots you can possibly see. If you're the 11th highest paid football coach in the country and they move you up 6 spots on that list with a contract extension, it doesn't take very long to pick up the pen and sign it. It just feels to me like he might know where he's headed. Now, again, this stuff goes crazy. We were all convinced Lincoln Riley was coming to LSU, and while we were convinced that that was the case, Brian Kelly had really already agreed to take this job. So we don't really know, and I don't ever try to pretend I know. If you remember the way that we covered this coaching search is we took, and when names surfaced, we discussed the name. But you never heard me or Jeremy come on here and go, sources are indicating it's this guy's job. And you heard that around here. It's this guy's job. It's this guy's job. You heard that in Baton Rouge. I don't know how much people knew. Seemed pretty tight-lipped to me. And so all this smoke that's building up in Auburn, causing the reactions from everybody in Oxford, feels real. Now, if Lane signs that extension today or tomorrow, you go coach the Egg Bowl, you might get it, you're going to get a reasonable bowl bid, and you keep moving. What's interesting with Lane is, what's his end game? I think he wants to be an NFL head coach again. He got a shot at that really young with a terrible organization, and it went up in flames with the Raiders. I've heard Neil McCready and Chase Parham say, look, he's not going to be at Ole Miss in 4 years anyway. He's either going to move on to Tuscaloosa or Auburn, Miami, whatever comes open, or he's going to go coach the NFL. I personally, as an LSU fan, don't think that him leaving Ole Miss and going to Auburn makes a ton of difference to me. I think if he leaves Ole Miss and goes to Auburn, the odds of Ole Miss hiring a coach that good are not very good, and you can cripple Ole Miss if he leaves and they hire a poor coach. He goes to Auburn, he basically turns Auburn into what Ole Miss has been the last 2 years. You still got to recruit against Bama, still got to recruit against Georgia. You're playing them every year right now. I don't have the sense that Lane Kiffin turns Auburn into the Death Star because he's got much better players than he did at Ole Miss. I think he just kind of builds a 9-10 win team at Auburn instead of Oxford. Is the ceiling higher? Yeah. But I don't fear it too much. I think it's interesting. I think it's fascinating. to watch this. So we'll see. That contract extension reportedly is on his desk. If he doesn't sign it in the next 3 days, my assumption is he's going to Auburn. He's not coaching Ole Miss in a bowl game. That's just my guess, but it's fascinating for sure. That's it for hour number 1 here on a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill, brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. Get on by there and watch some soccer. Get on by there and enjoy some dinner. They can get you out very quickly for lunch as well. Appreciate you them bringing you the opening hour each and every Monday here on Hunt and Hill. The Shed Barbecue over there on Burbank. When we come back, talk a little Saints, talk a little LSU hoops, a little bit of football as well, and take it or leave it. Come back after Sports Center. It's Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I am Juliette, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis. But I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
ESPN
Sports
I'm Kevin Wentz of the United States, making its first appearance in the World Cup since 2014. Remember the last time the World Cup was held?
What are we doing?
Yeah, that was the state of U.S. soccer back in 2018. Now, the United States is on the board first. Timothy Weah with a goal on an assist from Christian Pulisic in the 36th minute. The United States with a 1-0 lead over Wales, 1-0 if you will. We are at the half at Qatar. U.S. really controlling the play and dominating, had the better of the scoring chances. U.S. leads 1-0. They're at the half. Second half is about to get underway. United States has all 11 starters making their World Cup debuts. Monday Night Football tonight from Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, where it's no Kyler Murray for the Arizona Cardinals. It'll be Colt McCoy, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Second straight game that Murray's going to miss with a hamstring injury. Cardinals and Niners. Kick begins 8:15 Eastern, ESPN television. Monday Night Countdown starts at 6 Eastern. 76ers announced Joel Embiid going to miss at least 2 games. He's got a left foot sprain. That means Philly has Embiid, Harden, and Maxey all on the sidelines.
Coming up Tuesday, are we sure the Eagles are still the best team in the NFC? And how dangerous are the Cowboys? Keyshawn J. Willimax, Tuesday, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
1, 2, 3. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2 on a Monday. Hunt and Hill. Hope your week's getting off to a good start. And I hope you don't have to work that much this week. That is ideal. A lot of people taking some time off to spend with family and friends this week. We will have our normal schedule on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll be off on Thursday, and then we'll be back in action on Friday because we got to get ready for LSU and Texas A&M. So short trip up to Shreveport for your boy. I'm going to hit the road after the show on Wednesday, hang with family Wednesday night and Thursday, and come back on Friday morning to get ready for our show from 1 to 3 on Friday, previewing LSU and the Aggies. All right, let's change gears here. Break up the Saints. What a squad. Black and gold. Unbelievable. Well, I don't know about that. They won. 27-20 was the final. The Rams just stink. They are really, really bad this year. They can't block. They don't run the football. Stafford has been under pressure and inaccurate all year. And the Saints got after him a little bit. And the Saints offense really looked good. And to me, it's like, it seems very simple, just like get Taysom more involved. I realize there's a ton more that goes into it, but they got him involved, and it really worked. Maybe it took a little pressure off Andy Dalton, but Andy Dalton's QBR was almost perfect yesterday. Hit the deep ball to Olave, hit some intermediate stuff, got Kamara involved a little bit. Jarvis came back, makes 2 straight catches, one of them for a touchdown. Nice to have some of your pieces back. It's kind of a double-edged sword when you look at Olave. It's like, man, so glad we got that guy. What a guy to go trade up and get. He had a huge game, 5 catches for 102 and a touchdown. Had the 53-yarder. And yeah, he hit. You hit on Olave. He's a great player. But then you realize that he's the reason why you're not going to have a first-round pick next year. So it's just, that seems more important than a big play wide receiver on a team that right now sits there at 4-7. But man, he can play. He can run, stretch the top off the defense, and Dalton just seemed comfortable and confident in the game. And that's just not something we've seen now for 3 weeks. They got it rolling a little bit right when he got into the lineup, but then the defense let him down. And the defense was good on Sunday, holding the Rams to 20. But then you got the offense to pair with it. You just hadn't had that. It'd been either or type deal. You look at it and it's either, up and down the field, back and forth in a game with Seattle, kind of like it was with the Bengals, or the defense plays pretty well against the Steelers, but your offense doesn't show up. Defense was pretty good most of the game against the Ravens, but you scored 13 points. Now, finally, you get the solid defense, you get the pass rush, you harass Andy Dalton, and the offense seemed to click. And I think just getting Taysom Hill more involved, the more you do that, the better. So, again, it's a week-to-week deal in the NFL. And if you're the Saints, I pronounced this thing as a flat line 2 weeks ago. I don't see any reason to believe that even though you look at this and you go, well, you just look at the division. You're only a game and a half out. But I just can't go there. I think you played a home game against a team that can't get it figured out in the Rams, and you played well enough to win. I just don't think you're going to do enough to run down Tampa and maybe even Atlanta, as ridiculous as that sounds. And the Saints are only one game behind Atlanta, and you get them in the Superdome. So I get that. But I'm not going to let 3 hours yesterday cloud my judgment on what I've seen for 3 months, right? I'm not going to go, oh, look, they kind of figured something out with Dalton there. Maybe next week, again, he'll have a perfect quarterback rating. Probably not.
So you don't think they can catch Tampa?
I don't.
Well, I mean, you're probably right. Brady's 2-0 since his divorce. So there's there's your sports fact of the day.
I did not see that coming. Probably a lot of guys driving around their car shaking their heads like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I just think Tampa is better, and I just don't trust the Saints team. I've seen enough. I went as long as I could with the leash of they're right there in the division. They're right there in the division. The division's bad. And I carried that as far as I could carry it. And at a certain point, you just look up and go, no. I don't trust a crippled receiving core. I don't trust a guy who's been benched by 2 franchises and is a backup. I don't trust an aging defense. I don't trust Dennis Allen. And so there's 2 parts to this conversation. It's the 2022 season part, and then it's the franchise and the state of the franchise. And right now, I think they go hand in hand. I think they're both just really mediocre. I think this team is really mediocre to poor, and I think where they sit as a franchise is really mediocre to poor because it is so hard to get a quarterback if they don't have one. And the roster's aging, and they don't have a lot of draft capital to go fix it. So you look at the game last night, and you go, oh, well, it looks like the Hesters had a lot of fun. Also, the Chargers keep losing. And the only thing that's relevant for a Saints fan with a Chargers-Chiefs game is, hey, if the Chargers move on from their head coach, they're going to have a new one in about 12 seconds. Sean Payton would go so fast to to LA, it would be the drop of a hat. To go out there, coastal, with a franchise quarterback, locked and loaded, ready to roll, that's the kind of place he's going to wait for. And if this thing doesn't get turned around by the Chargers, now they're 5-5, but if they go 8-10 or something, maybe 9-7, I can't do those numbers anymore. It's 17 games. If they go 8-9 or something like that, they're going to move on because you've got a quarterback who's really good and you're not getting anything out of it. And that's that's what Sean Payton's looking for. He doesn't want to go to a place like Carolina right now that has no answer at quarterback. He doesn't want to go to Houston. He didn't want to go to Detroit. He wants to go to a place where they've got a guy in the place that can. And there aren't a lot of those that come open because there aren't that many places that are firing coaches that have good quarterbacks. That doesn't happen all the time. But San Diego is the one that I keep saying San Diego. Los Angeles is the only one that really rings a bell. The Raiders are in year 1 of a new coach, so I don't feel like that's. I mean, it's possible. They're bad. They're 3-7. If you feel like you can get Sean Payton, maybe you move on. But I say all this because it's relevant because that's one way the Saints can get some draft capital back is if Sean Payton signs somewhere. And I realize that everybody is well aware of that, but I think it's an interesting storyline because even though they played good on Sunday, I don't think it's going to happen moving forward, and I just don't like where they are unless they can go find some draft capital. Unless there's one point. He texted me this on Sunday when the announcement was made. Where's Hendon Hooker getting drafted now? Somebody going to take him in the top 12 picks come when he can't even work out at the combine? He's on crutches. Feels like he might slide. Can the Saints do enough, and will they have a good enough pick in the second round where he's there? I don't know. It's too early to think about because you don't have any information on where the Saints are drafting. But I do think it was a reasonable point someone made. It's like, hey, he slides. I don't know if he's a great NFL quarterback or he's not at all. But you're not going to be able to draft Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud if you're the Saints. That ain't happening. But if you can find somebody in the later rounds, maybe that's your guy. Something to think about. We'll probably talk about that a lot more after the season is over. Just a devastating injury for Hendon Hooker and probably going to affect what happens to him in the spring. But he had a heck of a go while he was out there. All right, we'll take a timeout. LSU went down to the Cayman Islands for a 3-game tournament. They got that started against Illinois State earlier this morning. I'll give you the updates on what happened down there and my thoughts on it next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford. Check out that inventory, BayouFord.com. Such a great website. Car shopping is just not done like it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even 5 years ago. You'd go to the lot, you'd walk around with a salesperson, you'd get in 7 cars, you'd drive 3 of them. That's not how things go anymore. You got to get a feel for what they've got on the lot online. And hey, 50% of the people that buy a car from Bayou Ford never set foot on the lot. They do it all online. 75% of the people that buy a car from Bayou Ford customize it. And that's what you can do at BayouFord.com. You can check out their inventory. It's there. It updates daily as cars come in and come out. They got you covered there. Your Explorers, Expeditions, Mustangs, Broncos, all that. But if you don't see exactly what you want in terms of the features of the car, color of the car, the interior, they'll customize it for you. Get Ben Gagne and the crew on the phone. In 60 to 90 days, that car will be delivered to Bayou Ford, and they will get one of their 6 full-time drivers to drive it right to your driveway. So easy, so convenient. It's Bayou Ford. Check out the inventory at BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, where they're going to do right by you.
Professional golfers John Peterson and J.J. Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money.
Quarterfinals in the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview, presented by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Catholic High and Etta Carr kick off at 7, immediately followed by the Lake Urgent Care Total Occupational Medicine Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Tigers down in the Cayman Islands, the Cayman Islands Classic. Matt McMahon's squad took the floor at 10 o'clock this morning, and it didn't take them long to get a lead. LSU absolutely boat raced Illinois State in the first half. At halftime, your score was 45-18. I was listening to the broadcast, John Brady and Chris Blair, and they were going through some of the statistics at halftime, and John Brady said, I don't know that you can play much better half of basketball. And it was very obvious from listening to the call and following things along that LSU really played hard this morning, which is good to see in an empty gym down there in the Caymans against a team that you don't really know much about other than the fact they lost to Northwestern State last week. Again, this is a very weak non-conference schedule for LSU. But this was clearly their most impressive effort through 4 games. There have been some significant issues really in the first 3 games, and they came out in this game and really asserted themselves on both ends of the floor. It was great to see in this game KJ Williams get some touches around the rim and assert himself there. I did see a couple of highlights where they got him the ball on the block. He was able to go up over his left shoulder and little jump hook and make it. He had been doing far too much of spot-up three-point shooting and catching the ball at the high post. I want to see a 6'10", wide-bodied former Conference Player of the Year catch the ball on the block and force the defense to do something. Either force them to double him or force the guy to play him one-on-one. And they did a lot of that. KJ Williams took 19 shots in 30 minutes. He was 13 of 19 from the floor. From 2-point range, he was 12 of 15. He made all 6 of his free throws and finished with 33 points and 8 rebounds. If LSU's going to be as good as it can be, I'm not certain what that is. But if they're going to be as good as they can be, KJ Williams is going to have to shoulder a huge offensive load. The whole offense can't be Juice Hill running the point and Adam Miller taking threes. You got to get some front court scoring. And I don't think that Jalen Reed's going to give you a ton of that. I think he's going to help you with some rebounding and some athleticism around the rim, but he's not going to be a big point scorer. He scored 4 points in the game. Mwani's another starter. His offensive game is limited. He's a spot-up corner 3 shooter, and that's really it. He took 1 shot today. He played 20 minutes. He took 1 shot. But KJ Williams can be an offensive force for this team. He's been an offensive force for Murray State for a couple of years now. So he's a guy that's got to get rolling. And so for him to go and score 30 points in this game was I think, huge. LSU did not shoot the ball from the three-point line very well in this game, 3 of 14. They're going to have games like that. It's not a dead-eye shooting team. Adam Miller was 1 of 5 from 3. He came out smoking hot from 3 in the first 2 games. He's been pretty poor the last 2 games. But KJ Williams picked up the slack for him, did a very good job in the game. You had Juice Hill, who dished out 5 assists in the game, only scored 4 points LSU scored 77, and KJ Williams scored 33 of them. He's almost half of your production offensively. And you look at Illinois State, LSU just totally overwhelmed them. They forced 19 turnovers in the game to just 13 assists from the Redbirds. Illinois State was 5 of 22 from the three-point line. And I bring that up because LSU's done a really good job of guarding the three-point line 4 games in a row. Now, I will preface that, or add a caveat to that. You're playing bad basketball teams. There aren't a lot of bad basketball teams that light it up from three-point range. So I think it's fair to say that LSU is doing a good job defending the three-point line, and the teams they're playing can't shoot. I think both things can be true. And when you marry those two things together, you've got some really bad shooting numbers. But I think LSU, and you look at the final score of this game, 77-61, and I didn't have to watch every dribble of it to tell you that that is not indicative of how well LSU played in this game, because it was 45-18 at halftime. LSU got outscored by 11 points in the second half and still won the game by 16. So Matt McMahon is continuing to develop this team. He's continuing to coach this team. He's continuing to learn what he has with this team. And today, very clearly, the biggest step was, hey, KJ Williams can play. We got to get him the ball more. We've got to run some things through him offensively. And the guys will get that. Now, what happened back in the last game LSU played against UNO? Cam Hayes went nuts late in the game. Hit 4 threes, step back 3, hitting him in traffic, transition. Lots of guys got to get some minutes. Well, he did. He got to play 21 minutes in the game. He was 1 of 3 from three-point range. He made 3 of his 4 free throws. He turned the ball over 5 times. So that's kind of what I was talking about with Cam Hayes. Is he played a lot for NC State. He was not like an end-of-the-bench guy. He was very firmly in their rotation. And he was a high-volume, low-efficiency player. A lot of turnovers, a lot of missed shots, but some points because of the amount of shots that he was taking. He's not a great three-point shooter. He just got hot for 5 minutes against UNO. But he did get the 21 minutes, which I'm glad. I think you can entice this team with playing time because they've got a lot of depth. They got a lot of guys. They don't have the frontline guys that you might want, but they've got depth. Hayes played 21 minutes. Derek Fountain came off the bench and played 20 minutes. Kendall Coleman played 10 minutes off the bench. And the good news is in a tournament where you're going to play 3 games in a row, I don't think you overly taxed anybody. Adam Miller did play 32 minutes. KJ did play 30, but nobody played 38, 39 minutes in the game. You got some guys off their feet. So that's the good news for LSU. And the good news is they continue to win games. And I think I'm bracing you. They're not going to run the table in the non-conference. The schedule looks pathetic. They're going to have a game where they slip up. If they don't, I'll be thrilled. But I see that coming because this team has been a little bit disjointed. But it was very good to go down to the Cayman Islands in a tiny gym against a team you never heard of and bring the energy right from the start. The same thing we're talking about with football on Saturday. Like, okay, you got some juice. Like this one doesn't quite feel like the other ones have. You're not at home, not playing a big name team. Don't have that crowd to back you up. You got 50 people in the gym. But they came, they brought the energy, they got it done. They beat Illinois State, and they moved to 4-0 on the young season. They will play again tomorrow. Let me pull up right here who it is that they play. Doesn't say on the ESPN story. I had a staff writer. Okay, that's 11-20. So that I'll figure it out. I'll look the bracket up and see who they get next. But they play another game tomorrow in the winners bracket, and it's a tournament. Quite frankly, they can go 3-0 in because it's not star-studded. Like Maui this year is absolutely locked and loaded with huge names. Not the case with this tournament down there in the Caymans. So LSU has a chance to go down there and win. And look, while you're building a program, you're trying to recruit, you're trying to create some goodwill. Guys are trying to get to know each other, winning some games, probably the best thing for you. They're going to do a lot of that. They certainly did it in this game. They crushed Illinois State by the final score of 77-61. I want to remind you to check out dropbiscuit.com and browse our growing library. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to Pops, Fame, You Talking to Me, For the People, Well Stated, or whatever Southern-flavored audio biscuit you may fancy. That is dropbiscuit.com. Reminder on For the People, that's professional golfers John Peterson and J.J. Colleen answering all your golf and life questions inside that new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast. For the People. Download and subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com. Hope your Monday is getting off to a good start here in the capital city or wherever you may be listening to us. We appreciate you for hanging out. We'll get you through it. Matt Moscona is going to drive you home from 3 to 6 on AFR, and Jimmy Ott's Game Time coming up a little bit later from 6 to 8. You're listening to Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal. I've had such a good time with this LWCC promotion, Champions of Louisiana, and getting to know some of the people and some of the great things that go on in our great state. When talking to the LWCC group, they were saying, hey, look, we feel like a lot of people love Louisiana. They love our food. They love our culture. They love the music. They love New Orleans. But we should be admired as much as we are loved for some of the great things that we do. And that's why they wanted to elevate and celebrate Champions of Louisiana like Molly Kimball, who is a nutrition journalist, registered dietitian, and the founder of Ochsner's Eat Fit. If you sit down in a restaurant, you see Eat Fit right there on the menu. That's Molly Kimball's work. She's worked with 500 partners across the state to create great dishes with great nutritional value. And together with her Eat Fit team, she works with the restaurants, markets, and other food service establishments to identify and develop dishes that meet a nutritional criteria. Molly Kimball is a champion of Louisiana. If you know a champion of Louisiana that needs to be elevated and celebrated with us here on Hunt and Hill, go to lwcc.com/Louisiana Loyal and nominate someone to be a champion of Louisiana like Molly Kimball. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community. We are
the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Enter now for a chance to win a catch and cook fishing experience from the Louisiana Charter Boat Association with me, Chef Jay Ducote, winner of Beat Bobby Flay. Register now at gocatch.com. That's GEAUX catch.com.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite.
12 in the NFL starts with the Thanksgiving Day triple header. First, the Lions host the Bills at 11:30 a.m. Then the Cowboys host the Giants at 3:30 p.m., followed by the Vikings and the Patriots at 7:20 p.m. All here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Yanks clinging to a 1-0 lead in the World Cup. USA 1, Wales 0. They play in the 70th minute right now over in Qatar. Keep you updated if someone scores. They probably won't. All right, let's go back to college football. What a day. And really, it was everything that we've been talking about for 2 weeks now. Since LSU beat Alabama, there has been reason to discuss the possibility of making the college football playoff. There's never been a 2-loss team to get into the college football playoff. We know this. 2-loss conference champions are 0 for 16 in reaching the playoff. We know this. It's a long shot too many for LSU to win the Southeastern Conference. To even further this discussion, we know this. But there's not a lot to draw from the college football playoff rankings. Everybody gets all up in arms and yells and screams, and it doesn't really matter because things happen. Nobody, when discussing the college football playoff rankings, said, yeah, after South Carolina beats A&M 63-38 next week, it'll probably change. But that's why you play the game. Tennessee's a 22-point favorite. They lose by 25. And so, while I'm of the opinion that did LSU a massive service, because I think, in my opinion, Tennessee had a shorter path to the college football playoff than LSU did, it's a huge deal. And if you could have gotten Baylor to get home, then you'd really have something to start talking about. But Baylor couldn't get it done. They get the touchdown late. They go up 8. And you can't get TCU off the field late, and you allow the field goal at the end. And I thought that Sonny Dykes did a terrible job of coaching the end of that football game. Now, there is a very reasonable argument on the other side, is that no, they ran the play. They had their field goal unit ready. The field goal unit ran out there. They set up perfectly. They executed the play with about 5 seconds to wait, and they kicked a field goal as time expired. And I would not disagree with that. They should have never been in that position. You did all that to gain 4 yards. You had to rush your entire special teams operation to get 3-4 yards. And Dykes said after the game, we practice it every Thursday. Well, I'm sure you do, and they execute it perfectly. But you should have kicked that field goal with 17 seconds left instead of running that play. With no timeout, no ability to spike the ball because it was 4th down, that was a horrible decision in my estimation and put way too much pressure on a rushed operation of a field goal with college kickers. How much have we seen from college kickers over the year to know that ain't a sure thing? But the players bailed him out, and they do what they have done all year long, and that's win games tight. It has not been a work of art, but they're 11-0. I mean, it feels like they were left for dead a couple of times, but they've made it work. So on their ledger now, they've got a 1-point win over Baylor, touchdown win over Texas, field goal win over Oklahoma State, touchdown win over Kansas. And it's not a wildly impressive resume. I get it. But I'm kind of with T-Bob, if you've listened to the morning show, in that the games have to matter at a certain point. And if you're LSU with 2 losses, you lost to Florida State. You got crushed by Tennessee. And TCU runs through their schedule undefeated, that's a prettier resume. I struggled with Cincinnati last year. I did. And it's a little bit comparing this current Big 12, where Oklahoma and Texas are not very good, to Cincinnati's American is probably closer than I'm giving it credit for. But for some reason right now, I'm going to draw the line between them, and I'm going to say that I don't think Cincinnati necessarily should have gotten in. I got to give TCU credit for that, especially against a 2-loss LSU. It's a 1-loss LSU, a 1-loss SEC champion, as opposed to an undefeated Big 12 champion, and you've got games against Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia on your schedule. I'm going to look at that far differently than the Big 12. But when you combine, when it's 2 games, I gotta give TCU a little bit of credit. You look up at the Big 10, we could have gotten some help there too. But Brett Bielema couldn't get it done late, couldn't get Michigan off the field. They allow the field goal late. And Maryland got the ball back down 6 with a minute left, and they gave up the strip sack for a touchdown. Really conservative play from Illinois and Baylor. Not necessarily as much from Maryland. And you can't be reckless. I get that. Like, you can't just go nuts. But at times you got to push the envelope a little bit. And I would have liked to seen some throwing the football from Illinois and from Baylor. Too much just running into a brick wall and let them call timeout. Yeah, you're getting rid of the timeouts, but you're going to give them the ball back. You gotta go get it. You gotta go win it. You gotta go get a first down. I just thought they were really conservative. And then maybe the win of the weekend outside of South Carolina was SC getting it done against UCLA. And now the question is USC a threat to LSU in making the college football playoff? The AP voters, which doesn't matter, say yes, they jumped LSU. I'm looking at a resume right now from USC that looks pretty pitiful. Your only win of substance is UCLA. The other time you played a team with a pulse in Utah, you got beat. So we'll see what they can do against Notre Dame. It is in LA. And we'll see what the conference championship looks like. They got a long way to go. But that's going to be one that's interesting. I don't have a lot of use or time to sit here and say what I think will happen, or there's too many ifs. Let me watch USC play Notre Dame. Let me watch USC play a conference championship game. Let me watch LSU and Georgia. Until you've got all the information, it's just a fool's errand to try to do it. It goes back to the beginning of this segment. Like, you don't know. If LSU comes out and beats Georgia 38-13, that matters. Come out and lose 38-13, we don't have to have a discussion. But for someone to sit here and go, well, I think USC's resume is going to be more impressive than LSU, we need more information. Let me watch them all. I'm just thrilled sitting here that we can start having the conversation. Because I left LSU for dead before they even started. And then did it again after Florida State. Again after Tennessee. But we're here. It's officially late November. It's the 21st. And there's reason to talk through some of these happenings that center around the college football playoff, because LSU's right there in the thick of it. But SC announced itself there. If you could have gotten a win by UCLA, that would have really helped. They've already got a loss. That resume is not very good. But SC carries a little brand. They've got a Heisman Trophy potential guy. The AP voters thought enough of it to move him. And I'll say this. I said last week after the college football rankings that I didn't think that USC or Clemson could pass LSU. When I said that, I meant in the final if LSU wins out. In the final college football playoff rankings. USC might pass LSU by virtue of them going on the road and beating UCLA and LSU playing UAB. Maybe the committee bumps SC up. But the biggest bargaining chip on the whole thing, the biggest data point in this entire discussion is LSU beating Georgia. The best win in college football for the entire season would be LSU beating Georgia. That shifts the scales. So again, even if tomorrow night you turn on the selection show and LSU stays back where they were and USC jumps them, that doesn't mean it's permanent. People will go nuts. People will say, oh my God, they're biased. SC bias, West Coast bias. It's not over. As information comes in, things move around. So just watch the playoff committee rankings with, a grain of salt, whatever may make you feel a little bit better tomorrow, because it doesn't matter all that much. You've got to go to A&M and win, then you got to beat Georgia, and that will be the biggest data point of the entire year. When you, over the course of 7 days, add beat Georgia and SEC champion to your resume, it changes the entire discussion. So, no big deal tomorrow. It would have been nice if LSU would have gotten a little bit more help, but they got a little bit, and they might have gotten the most important one, because I think Tennessee was going to be a bit of a problem for LSU come selection time because of that game in Tiger Stadium. 27-point blowout's hard to overlook on your own field. You got the help you really needed. Now you just hope you get a little bit more moving forward. Got a little bit of a developing situation over in Qatar. The Stars and Stripes have been called for a penalty in the box. I don't know what it was. I don't care what it was. But Wales is going to get a penalty kick here that could be the equalizer, as they say in soccer. There are only 9 minutes and change left in this game, and Wales got a chance to tie it. We're going to do a little soccer play-by-play here. My definite calling. I have no idea who's kicking it for Wales, but he just kicked it, and he put it in the back of the net. And all the Wales people are very excited. I'm not all that excited. Looks like could be a draw here. They are in the 82nd minute, so there are only 9 minutes plus stoppage time to play. But Wales has tied the game with America. Everybody in this room is absolutely devastated, I can tell. As they laugh at me for saying that. But Wales, it's that Bale guy. I've heard of him. Gareth Bale. I've heard of him. Look at that. Soccer knowledge off the charts here.
Is that Christian Bale's brother?
I don't believe that's to be the case.
Okay, well, I know who Christian Bale is. I know who Gareth Bale is.
Yeah, Batman. So, yeah. But, yeah, I don't know what the penalty was. I wonder if it was a controversial call that everybody would get really excited about. Oh, there it is. Man, soccer. Okay, let me just get onto this before we do take it a wee bit. Soccer is so stupid. The Wales guy had his back to the goal. Literally had his back to the goal. And the U.S. guy went through him and fouled him. And we take this sport where it is damn near impossible to score a goal. It's almost impossible to score. And we essentially give you a free goal because somebody got hit in the box. If there's like a breakaway and somebody form tackles like a middle linebacker, a guy on a breakaway, we'll talk about getting a PK. But to take it where it's almost impossible to score and give you a free goal is stupid. This has been Hunt's thoughts on soccer for the day. It's dumb. Oh, well, that's my thoughts on soccer. Let's come back and close it out next on Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check them out at reliableroofing.br.com. Love telling you about Lionel Hayes and the crew. One of the messages that he wanted to be sure that we were letting our listeners know about is that there's no job too big or too small for Reliable Roofing and Construction. You don't have to just get a full roof replacement every time you call a roofing company. Maybe some prefer that. Reliable Roofing is happy to come do an inspection, and if all you need to do is get a couple of shingles replaced, that's what they're going to do at Reliable Roofing and Construction. Lionel Hayes is born and raised in Baton Rouge family, and a Baton Rouge business, and wants to serve his Baton Rouge community. Every single job Reliable Roofing and Construction does, 5-year labor warranty, a 5-year labor warranty. Check out their work at reliableroofingbr.com. They are proud of it. They should be. I love the work they do on their Instagram as well, at Reliable Roofing LLC. Check them out at reliableroofingbr.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community. We are
the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap LSU UAB, Saints Rams. Cole Kubelik will join us. We'll see you for Monday's AFR from 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill here on a Monday. Hope your week's off to a good start. It's like the Stars and Stripes are going to let one get away in the World Cup opener. Team USA scored early in the first half, well, midway through the first half, but allowed the equalizer on a penalty from Wales with just 9 minutes to play. They've got about 5 minutes left of action in Qatar, and it is 1-1. Somebody puts one in the net over the next 7 minutes of airtime. We'll let you know about it here on Hunt and Hill. But as we do each and every day, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
The World Cup. Take it or leave it. I think I know your answer already.
No, I'll take it. I think it's great that everyone gets so jazzed up for this every 4 years. I'm not going to. I don't really care. But I'm a fan of a niche sport. I love college baseball. I get so excited for college baseball, and no one else in the country or the world cares about it at all. So I realize that soccer is the opposite of a niche sport. It's the most popular sport in the world, but it's a niche sport in this country. And I think for this event to come on once every 4 years and everybody get jazzed up for it, our guys are going to City Slice to do their show on Friday. Some of the sales staff was all fired up about it. That's cool. I love that. I've got a couple texts about the game from people that love soccer and know that I don't really care about it. No, I'm all in on the World Cup. I don't know that I'm all in on it going to Qatar, where it sounds like it's an awful host. But I'm in on the World Cup. That's great.
Rory McIlroy finished the European Tour season ranked #1 in Europe for the 4th time. Rory McIlroy, the best player in the world. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to take that. Right now, it's hard to argue. He is playing awesome. Cam Smith ran him down at the Open Championship, but he's tightened up his wedge game, which was really, really poor for years and years. He's always been as good a driver as there is, and he's made some putts. He won me over this year. I've been anti-Rory forever because he's on the European Ryder Cup team, and I don't want anybody on the European Ryder Cup team to do well. But the way he's stood up for the PGA Tour and against this disastrous Live Golf League, I love the fact that he's done that and been so outspoken. So, yeah, I'm in on Rory, and I do think he is right now the best player in the world, so I will take that.
The Dallas Cowboys rolled in Minnesota on Sunday. The Cowboys are the class of the NFC. Take it or leave it.
The Eagles did. I mean, it looked a little iffy there. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go with the Eagles right now, but I could be convinced. What say you?
I'm taking this, Hunt. The Cowboys, America's team. No, I'm actually going to leave it. I like the 49ers, but the Cowboys are playing really well.
I mean, what was the difference yesterday? The Vikings have been really good, and they were just not even competitive.
Two words, Micah Parsons.
Okay.
And then throwing the ball to Tony Pollard out the backfield, man. Played receiver in college. Put him back.
I'll do one for you here. Take it or leave it. Jerry Jones said after the game that it's maybe time for him to sit down with Odell Beckham. Take that or leave it.
Oh, God. People are going to hate me for this. I'm leaving that. Look, Odell is a great player. He has a very colorful personality.
Yes.
Maybe if he doesn't get the ball from Dak, who struggles to throw it, that team has a lot of good chemistry right now, a lot of good locker room guys. I'm going to leave that.
I understand the way that goes. Got one more here.
Yeah, the Dodgers did not render former MVP Cody Bellinger a contract. Cody Bellinger to the Cubs. Take it or leave it.
Oh, gosh, I'm gonna leave it. I think he's gonna be expensive for what he's been. He was an MVP and has become this massive strikeout problem. And he's not getting on base. He's still got some slug to him, and the Cubs desperately need left-handed hitting, but that doesn't seem like the way to go. If they're going to spend some money, do it on a shortstop and some starting pitching. That would be my absolute preference, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that. All right, that'll do it for Take It or Leave It here on a Monday. Is that 9 minutes of stoppage time in the red box right there? Is that what that says? Okay, 9 minutes of stoppage time. So the game is maybe going to end after we go off the air. But right now, I'm looking on Twitter, and there are a lot of people on Twitter that know a lot more about soccer than I do that say this is a catastrophic deal that we're going to now probably have to win on goal differential or something. I don't know how any of that works, but I know that England scored like 1,000 goals this morning. I think they had 5 on Iran. So gonna have to get that offense in gear. If they were able to get the win over Wales, that would have been really, really good. And they still could. They still got to play for like 7 more minutes. So we'll see. But again, if somebody happens to put one in, we'll let you know about it here on Hunt and Hill. Enjoyed the show today. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with us in the Bayou Ford chat. Really, please give us a like on your way out. We'd really appreciate that. Got one guy in the Bayou Ford chat there saying, Hunt, he's still trying to lose for Cruz. Well, that's over. The Cubs can't do that now. They have a 1% chance in the first ever MLB lottery of getting the first overall pick. And we had Kendall Rogers on last week. He thinks that Dylan Cruz is going to be the number one overall pick, which is something. I think it's possible, and we're going to talk a little bit of fall baseball tomorrow. I think it's possible that LSU has the 2 best college hitters in the country. Between White and Cruz, I think it's possible those 2 guys are the best 2 in the nation. There's certainly a lot of really good players out there, but those 2 are something serious. I would love it if the Cubs ended up with Dylan Cruz. I don't think that's going to necessarily happen. All right. If you missed anything, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com. The on-demand tab, you can click on Hunt and Hill, see everything right there. We're also on Apple Podcast and on Spotify, so if you prefer those two apps for your podcasting pleasure, you can search Hunt and Hill, use that ampersand, check that all that out right there. All our stuff is there each and every day. And, of course, we are always on YouTube where we archive every single show. So we open things up, 30 minutes of LSU and UAB talk, my thoughts on what we saw on Saturday night and what it means going forward. We also recapped a little bit of Brian Kelly's press conference. There's a couple injury updates there from Brian Kelly, as well as some redshirt updates as well. So all that in the first 30 minutes of the show. Went through the SEC recap the Saturday that was in the Southeastern Conference and my very impressive 1-6 record against the spread. As somebody politely put, I was one leg away from hitting a 7-game parlay in reverse. I was 1-6 on SEC plays. The whole year is shot there. Finished up the first hour talking about Lane Kiffin to Auburn and all of that smoke, which is significant at this point. So we'll see. That's probably 7 days from being settled at this point, maybe less, as they play in the Egg Bowl coming up on Thursday night. Talk some Saints and some LSU hoops in hour number 2, so catch it all on demand. Jimmy Ott's Game Time coming at you at 6 o'clock tonight from 6 to 8. Matt Moscone about to drive you home from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. See you tomorrow. It's Hunt and Hill.
There it is.